If a demon has no face, how do you fight it? In ancient Mesopotamia, there's a name that works like a net, it catches whatever you can't explain. In Sumerian it's udug. In Akkadian, Utukku. And it doesn't begin as one villain with a biography, it begins as a category. One detail gives away how flexible this idea was. The ruler Gudea of Lagash asks a goddess to send him a good udug for protection. So whatever an udug is, it can be protective. That creates a strange tension. If a good udug exists, why do later rituals obsess over the evil udug? Most texts won't give you a portrait. No horns. No signature look. Instead they describe consequences, trouble that arrives, fear that settles, illness that won't lift when prayers and medicine fail. Udug becomes a name for the threat when you can't confidently sort it into God, ghost, or bad luck. And that's why exorcists didn't hunt it like an animal. They treated it like a presence. Something that can be moved out. Because if you can expel the udug, you don't need to know what it looked like. But the tablets do something even more revealing. They start labeling an evil udug, as if the word itself needed a warning sign. The turning point is the exorcism tradition. Mesopotamian ritual texts are built for uncertainty. They don't always say what the spirit is, they say what the ritual should cover. A common move is to list possibilities, whether the trouble comes from a ghost, a god, a demon, or a curse, the spell is written to catch it anyway. That's where evil udug becomes useful. Not as a character, but as a diagnosis. In the incantation series often called udug hull, evil udug, the goal is blunt. Drive the harmful presence out so the patient can sleep, eat, breathe, think clearly again. The text doesn't need a monster's face, it needs a removal procedure. Then comes the twist. Some rituals call on a good udug to stand nearby and help push the evil udug away. Good and evil aren't two separate species, they're two alignments inside the same label. So, Utukku is less like dragon and more like intruder. Sometimes the intruder is a guard you want on your side. Sometimes it's the thing blocking the doorway of your life. And because the cause is hard to prove, the language stays flexible, exactly what you want if your job is to restore order, not win an argument about what's unseen. Which leaves the next question: if Utukku is a category, how did later traditions start treating it like a fixed demon type? By the first millennium BCE, the evil Utukku is firmly grouped with hostile forces in learned ritual lists. But even then, it usually never becomes a personality. No origin story. No rival. No single myth where it speaks and acts like a named villain. That absence matters. It suggests something older than later demon lore, a world where the boundary between demon, ghost, and angry god can blur, and the practical response is the same: cleanse, protect, restore. So what can we actually say with confidence? We can say udug/Utukku is used broadly, sometimes as an umbrella term. We can say Mesopotamian texts sometimes distinguish good from evil udug. And we can say the exorcism tradition focuses on expulsion rather than description, because the threat is defined by what it does, not what it looks like. And here's the quiet horror: a faceless category can fit any fear. That's why it survived across centuries of tablets. It's a name built for the unknown. Next episode, we go from the vague to the unmistakable, beings tied to the underworld, with a job and a direction. So choose where we descend. A. Underworld enforcers. B. A demon with a personal name.